Hi everyone. In this tutorial we're going to be taking a look at a tool called Lumio. You can see the name of it in the upper left hand corner. This is a tool created by Smart Technologies. If you are at all familiar with the smart boards that they put out, this tool is created by them. The idea behind this tool is that it is a collaborative learning tool that allows you to push content out to students as well as infuse interactive activities within that content. The best thing I can compare it to is Nearpod, and there are probably pros and cons both ways to Nearpod and Lumio. One of the biggest, or one of the most obvious, is that Lumio is newer to this scene and Nearpod has been around forever. Lumio has made quite a few advancements in the last few months and have added additional features. But so many people are familiar with Nearpod, I thought it might be helpful to show you Lumio and what it can do for us. So this is the layout of what Lumio looks like. You can create a free account through this tool, and with that free account, you have 50 megabytes of free space. Now, if you happen to have a smart board license within your organization or school, this comes within that same license suite. If you don't, you can certainly create a free account, and again, you have 50 megabytes of free space for you to create presentations. Now, where can you find these presentations? How do you create them? What are the options? So the first thing I'll point out, as is the case for many free tools, is that there is a library of already existing and created presentations that you can use within your classroom. Within the Lumio library, you can search directly by whatever term you're looking for. You can filter by grades or by subjects to find exactly what you're looking for. And if I scroll down here, you can see just a few things, some that are featured, some of the categories that they have under collections. There are all sorts of things. You'll see an area here that says manipulatives, and I'll show you how you can add in your own manipulatives. STEAM, fractions, reading and writing, multiplication, really a lot of options that are already created for you that you could start with, you could edit them, you could use them as they are. Let me go back to my library and just show you a couple of other things. If you were going to create from scratch, know that you can import in content that you might start with and then add additional functionality or interactive components to. So let's say you have an existing PDF, or probably what a lot of people have are PowerPoints. So let's say you have your content within PowerPoint, but you really want to add some additional interactive functionality for your students. You can certainly start with that and then embed in those activities. If you were starting entirely from scratch, you would choose this option over here, and I want to show you when I click on New some of the things that you can add to a Lumio presentation. Again, here are some content resources you can add in, a PDF, a PowerPoint. Notebook is this Smart Technology smartboard file. So if you are creating things on a smartboard, it would be a notebook file. So if you don't have that, no problem. You can take a look at what options you have for PowerPoints or PDFs, or completely start with one of the options they have here. You can see you can add in YouTube videos, Desmos for you math folks, PhET simulations, those are typically science and math. You can start with some templates here. You can also see down here that we have a variety of additional things like manipulatives and graphic organizers. If you click on any of these, you'll see what options you have. So if you're looking to do a brainstorming activity or cause and effect activity or something with columns, you could choose any of these templates to get you started. A lot of great templates already built for you that you can use as a jumping off point. If you really like the idea of manipulatives, you can click on here and see what kinds of manipulatives you have. You can see here we've got a calendar, we've got some coins, clocks, hundreds charts, a lot of math in here, number lines, shapes, patterns, and so on. So again, by clicking on any of these, and they give you a pretty good description as to what it is, you can add that directly into your presentation, but just by clicking on it. Another area I want to show you is this game-based activity. If I click here, you can see we have 12 templates underneath here. There are a ton of games that you can play by adding in any of these activities. And you can see by reading through here a variety of options. This is one thing I think that Lumio has more game options than Nearpod does. So just to point out a couple here, you can see that there are matching games, rank order, label reveal, that might be good for labeling diagrams, a game show, that one's kind of fun, a word search. You can see that some of these say teacher led, and these will look a little bit different, meaning that the instructor is going to be more a part of that versus students having the option to work them on their own. So a lot of really cool games that you can start with a template, and it will allow you to then fill in the blanks with your content and then bring it into your presentation. So let me show you a presentation I've already built and kind of some of the things you can do with it. So let me open that now. Okay, so a couple of things to point out here. So the first is, you can see this looks almost like a PowerPoint where I have text on the screen. You can see over here on the left, I've got a button to take me forward a screen or a backwards one. I can do some annotating or drawing or typing on the screens themselves if I want to. But up here at the upper left, I want to show you where it says 0 and then it looks like a couple of people icons. I want you to see that we have some pacing options here. I can choose to do teacher paced, meaning we're going to go through this together and they're not going to move on to the next slide until I'm ready for them to. Or I can say student paced, and I can go ahead and allow students to work at their own pace. When I want to share this out to students and have them connect to me for this presentation, I can click up here, this little upper right hand corner, and you can see I'll get a option to give students this information. So this is where they go, and they can put in a class ID, and it says it's waiting for students to connect. So you will see when you have multiple students that are connecting to you to engage with this presentation with you. This is very common for device-driven response systems, that where you want the students to respond to you in real time. So this is how you would have students come in. I'm going to go ahead to the next slide and show you a couple of the options I have on here. Okay, so this is just kind of an overview of what Lumio can do for you, and I described this in detail previously in the presentation. All right, so I have a couple of examples in different content areas just so that you can get an idea. So this one is two different examples, match them up in rank order, and these are from the game-based templates. So if I go ahead to the next one, now you can see as the teacher, you have two different options for this activity. One is to model the activity to show students how it's going to work. The second is to open a dashboard, and I'll show you. This will actually allow you to track how students are doing. Students can complete this activity individually on their own devices, which when they connect here, they can do that. So if I chose to model this activity, it'll actually allow me to bring it up and show students how it's going to work. So in this particular matching example, we have math problems and what the answers would look like. So let's say we are looking at 8 times 3, I think, also equals 2 dozen. So it would bring them together up here. So each match that you would make, you would put the first over here on the left, and then you would match it with whatever is the right answer on the right. All right, now I'm going to match it with this one. Okay, so that's how you would model the activity for them. So if I go over here to view progress, which was that dashboard that we talked about, this will actually show you in real time how the students are doing as a class and as students. It is warning me here that if I click this, it'll show student names. So I'm actually going to leave that be. But as you click on that, you can see how individual students are doing. So you can track them in real time, which is really pretty amazing. This is one of the newer features of Lumio. So this is what this particular activity looked like. Let me go on to the next one. All right, the next one's a rank order. Once again, I can model it or I can open the dashboard. I'll go ahead and model this one as well. And when students connect to this, they'll be seeing this on their devices. And they could connect to this through their phones, a tablet, a browser window, anything they want. So this is a rank order. So they're going to have to do the math here and figure out which one goes first. Oh, told me I was wrong there. Bummer. Maybe that's the first one. And then it tells me I got that right. These are options. When you set it up, you can tell them if they're right away or not. Okay, so this was a math. Again, I could view the progress of the class, see how they're doing as a class overview or individual student progress as well. I can show you this too. This is pretty neat. I didn't click that on the last one. It'll show you the most frequent answers as well as our overall average score of the class. Some really great reporting here. Let me go on to the next screen. All right, this is a science example. We've got a fill in the blank and a super sort. All right, so this one is a fill in the blank, and this one we were going to do as a class here together. So we've got some fill in the blank options here. They have to drag and drop them into the sentence, and then I usually have the students read to me when you think you have the sentence correct. So this is a simple fill in the blank. The next one is called a super sort, and once again, I could model the activity. I'll show you what it looks like. This will allow them to drag facts into either side, and it'll tell them if they're right or wrong. So if it absorbs it, they got it right. Once again, I have a progress option where I can see how well we did as a class. All right, I wanted to show you this that's kind of outside the realm of the games, a shouted out and a graphic organizer. So let me go ahead and go on to the next one. This is one I've already started to fill in. But as a class, we could work on this together. I would say, okay, what are good characteristics of a good teacher? And I would type this in myself. So it gets them off their device a little bit and us working together as a class on this activity. So I would just click the A button, click inside of here, and say, I'm going to say lifelong learner. All right, so this is an example of one of those graphic organizers, and there were a lot of options there, columns and cause and effects. I chose a web. The other one is a shout it out. So what happens here is the students get a question, and they will it's two columns of categories, and they will give an answer and put it into one of the two categories. And they're working on it together, but the class can see the results here. I'll go ahead and view what results we have. I asked them about benefits of teaching and challenges of teaching, and they would choose which side they wanted it to be on, and it kind of looks like Post-it notes almost on a bulletin board. This was called Shout It Out. All right, and then I had them do a word search just for fun. I was going to show you what that looked like. You build that, again, by clicking on that option, and then the students get a bank of words that they are looking to find, as well as a board that they have to find the words inside. So they just literally drag and try to find the words, and that was not really a word. And then they can choose a hint there. So those are just a few of the activities and things you can do with Lumio. Let me go ahead and go back again. Before I do, I want to show you one other thing. I want to show you up here at the top those three hash marks together. I can choose to end my lesson, which I'm going to do in just a second here. I can edit it, so if I found I want to add more to it or I want to delete something out, I can do that. This share is helpful. I can share this to make a copy for anybody. So if you want to give this to another teacher to use as a springboard for their own lesson. I mentioned that students can work on their own pace, at their own pace here. So I can copy this, and then I can place that link anywhere that I want students to work on this on their own for homework or on their own time, study hall, whatever. And that can be placed anywhere. All right, let me go ahead and end the lesson and go back. So again, Lumio is a really neat tool that allows you to bring in content as well as interactive games, activities, whole class discussions, and so on. There's a great library that will help you get started. You can import in existing content you have, or you can start from scratch. So I'd really encourage you to take a look at this tool and see if it might be helpful in your classroom.